It's so weird, and I'm gonna edit this part out, that when I start this typically, it takes away my background. So you got a little behind the scenes
Yes.
view, and I
Yes.
don't know why it does that. It's very
Yeah.
odd, but oh well. Okay, so I'm gonna give us a count in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Fandom Foundry. This is the MakerCast. This is the official podcast where we talk to the people who make cool stuff that we love and hopefully learn something along the way that you someday might be a maker too. So today, I'm one of your hosts. I always forget to introduce myself. I'm Todd Oxter, one of your hosts, joined by Jedi Sean Nias along for the journey. How are you doing, Sean?
Doing well. Really excited to talk about this because arcade gaming is one of my favorite passions from my youth. Really excited to talk to Matt.
Yep, and we've got a great guest to do that about. So if you're watching on screen, you already saw him on screen with his name. But if you're listening, we are joined tonight by Matthew Coulsey. Goes by Matt. And he is, I've got to get this right, the Chief Amazement Officer at Retro Replay Arcades.
That's right.
Matt, thank you so much for joining.
Well, thanks for having
this is
me.
amazing. I think you do something that a lot of us would love to do professionally. We lack the skills, all these other things to do it, and the talent. And that's why I'm so excited to having you on. And I'll just say, an aside would be how I met you. I think it's just a fun way to start this. I was selling a, it was an at arcade basically system where it's basically two joysticks.
Arcade tank stick.
Yeah. There you go. And it comes with like a little puck that has games in it. You can do other things. And that was kind of my first entry to say, I'm going to build an arcade system. So, and you probably have heard the story before. People try and it doesn't live up to what they really want.
Right.
So I had my first one, which was at arcade. And then I had I'm like, okay, well, that didn't work. Well, I got a tank stick, which is still pretty cool, pretty hefty. It didn't work exactly, didn't have everything I wanted, and then I got a new one. And then I put it on Facebook Marketplace, and Matt knew exactly what he was looking at, said, no problem, I'll be there. You drove a long distance, and we were talking. I'm like, well, what are you going to do with this thing? Do you know? Because some people, I'm like, I don't think they know, but, and so it's like, oh boy, I hope you like this. And then you're like, nope, I build these things for a living. I'm like, holy cow, you need to be in my podcast. So that is kind of the story. And you agreed to be on the podcast. So thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Well, thanks again for having me. I am really excited about this. I started the business about 7 years ago, and I essentially build custom arcade machines, mainly for home use. So we don't do like quarters or anything like that. We build machines that people will put in their basement, and they can customize. When I say custom, everything can be customized, from the marquee saying their last name to the games that it can play to kind of anything really. We have different models as kind of a base. We've put fish tanks in the bottom of these things. We've done, we've put refrigerators in the bottom of these things. But a lot of people, when they want something, for their house, they want it to play all the games of their youth, and they want it to play correctly and well, and they want it to work well. And we're not really, we're not purists. We use LED screens. We use large subwoofers and speakers, and we just kind of have fun with it. Yeah.
So, and I think that's the important part. You run this business, and tell us about your staff. Do you have a staff that you direct, or people that are experts in certain areas? How's that work?
Yeah. Well, I call my staff, it's sort of like bringing in the cavalry. So like we usually bring in people when it's really busy. Obviously the holidays, it can be crushing, and the holidays are tough because you also have a deadline. You're dealing with a lot of moms that want to make sure that their arcade is there, ready and under the tree. And so that hard deadline of December 23rd is pretty much. We got to make sure that everybody gets their arcade by then, and they might order it in July, wanting it for Christmas. So we have to, like I said, be very prepared. Our busiest time of year is tax return season, like right now.
Yeah, that makes sense because
total sense.
Thinking about that. How long does it take you to build one?
Well, I always tell people about 3 weeks, and normally I can get it done in 2 weeks. If you're putting a gun to my head and said, Matt, start building an arcade from start to finish, usually about 2 days once I have all the materials and everything.
And that's because you do custom everything. It looks like you can do custom header, you can do a custom
the marquee, the control deck, pretty much like everything. Highlighting the games that are on, whether it's a virtual pinball machine or a 2-player, 4-player arcade. We don't go too extreme. Like I know people do like 55-inch screens. I like to cut it off at 43.
You can only be so close to something that big, right?
Right. It gets pixelated.
Like you don't want to do this when you're playing an arcade game. You need to still be in a space.
Right. And I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
I thought I was surprised to see 43 because you're what, 3-4 feet away?
You are.
Oh, not even that. You're like 18 inches, right?
It gets pixelated. The other issue you have is getting it into someone's basement. Getting it through a walkout door. Walkout doors are only 27 inches wide. So you have to design something that will fit in basements. I learned that lesson early, and I learned everything the hard way. Everything I learned is the hard way. You restore or fix up an old Golden Tee, and those are huge machines. You get to the person's house, and they don't want it because they can't get it in their basement. It won't even fit through a door. So you have to think about all that stuff and make it so you can take the game somewhat apart, like take the control deck off, for example, get it downstairs, that kind of thing. And I feel like I've been in like that,
right?
Yeah, and the range you do is a standard 2-player, the wide body, a 4-player ultra wide arcade. So that's going, a little bit different, where it's like probably leaning into the wider but shorter. And then you have the modern arcade. You have a digital pinball, which is really cool because it's obviously another screen in the bed that is doing all the fun stuff versus actually real pinball. You have a cocktail. You do cocktail tables, it looks like.
We do, and then that's like custom. We'll do like every once in a while there'll be someone that wants like just the pedal stool or just an arcade that they can put on a counter, or they have the amount of people that are putting bars in their houses or entertainment spaces for the neighborhood in their houses, and they just have a small corner that they want to put something small in. A lot of our work is, in fact, I bought that tank stick because of a custom build that we're doing with it,
So you could probably put it in and then, or
that's right.
I will say the only complaint I have about your website is I want to click on all these and make them really big because I want to see all the parts of it. So that's this, get your webmaster on it and then do it for me.
Also
Todd requested it. Because there's so many details that I want to see all the details. So and these are amazing. There's the tabletop where you basically just put the arcade.
There might be there's a gallery on that website somewhere. I should know it. I built the website, but there should be like a gallery. Let's see here. If you go down just a second, right here. Go up just a little bit. I want to see if there's these red buttons. Is there a gallery there?
Game lists there. No. Arcade models.
No.
Recent projects. Okay, let's go into that. So I know this is amazing to people like navigating a website, but I think it's kind of cool because then you
click on that. So click on one of those right there, and that'll be big.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about. You can see like the cast of characters, the way it wraps around. And you've got like the light up background. I guess you'd call it the gallery view, or I know there's real names for these things. So
the
marquee,
amazing. So that's
marquee,
like on the top of and that'll have like a light just like it did in the 80s. you know.
Yep.
So
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
It's
wow.
pretty amazing. So here's the ultra wide.
Yeah.
And this is 4-player, but it's not angled, it's just all straight across, right?
That's
the main
right.
difference.
I wanted it to be like those old Konami cabinets that like Turtles is part of. You know, have that
Yeah.
retro kind of look. Yeah, there's one that
Yeah.
looks like the Turtles.
And there we go for those Minnesota fans. Look at that. All
Yeah.
the fandom of Minnesota all
Sure.
in one. And why would anybody torture themselves with seeing all those sports teams that we basically we love them, but man, they hate us, don't
It's
they?
hard. It's hard to be a Twins fan these days.
And there we go. The
Really
man
is.
cave with the speakers and
Yeah,
and
that's an
more of
old
the NAS theme.
SNES. Yep.
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
nice.
That's amazing. And then we've got like more of the just everything combined in this. It looks
Right.
amazing. And is that to someone requested like they want a cavalcade of characters, or you just said, hey, I'm gonna make you like the mashup
Yeah,
system?
both comes both ways. I have some
Okay.
customers that will spend a week, you know, going back and forth with me on the artwork and literally picking what characters that they want to highlight or whatever. That's all of the builds are pretty much one-time builds. We don't like copy a build over again. If
Sure.
somebody says I want that exact same arcade,
One of one.
I always change it a little bit,
Yeah.
especially because if you look at the marquees, a lot of them will say Johnson Family Arcade or
That's awesome.
or whatever they want. You know, some people will just put like retro arcade on it or whatever. But yeah, just making it so it's the one-time custom thing that they can put in their basement or their game room or whatever, and just have fun.
Hollister Arcade. That's somebody's family. Looks like
That's
we got a
right.
mix of retro, some fun comic book things, and
Yeah.
so yeah, everybody who's watching this, please, I would say watch this versus listen, because seeing is believing, and these are an amazing,
Yes.
just what you've done. Even Upper Deck, wow, going with a basically more of a sports theme. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So Matt, just looking at your builds,
Yeah.
clearly the build quality is there. Can you tell us about what when you started building them,
Sure.
what was your goal in mind? Because this brings me back to my days of going to the arcade
Yes.
and enjoying gaming at the arcade. What was your goal behind building this? Because I'll tell you right now, I'm gonna get one.
There you go. See that's even better right there, Matt. You got a sale. So I mean,
Yes. So
you won today. Yeah. There you go.
So when you look at the arcades themselves, like when you see an old Pac-Man machine, it's amazing that machine now was made in the 1980s. So it's like 45 years old, right? So I started by looking at like what materials did they use back then that lasted, you know? We're so used to like throwaway furniture and throwaway everything's throwaway. I'm thinking like arcade one-ups, you know, they're very thin and they're small.
Set what's really cheap,
right?
Board
like,
and
yes. So when I look at like an old pinball machine that's literally made out of plywood, you know, MDF is a big thing that was used in the 1980s. Sorry, my dog is the loudest drinker in the world. There we go.
No, that's okay.
Don't worry, I have 3.
Yeah.
It's all good.
So
we're animal lovers here.
Sure. Yeah. So I looked at like, I want to build them the same way. You know, remember the T molding or the plastic molding on the side. I want it to have the T molding. I want the light to be a single light, well, just like it was behind the plexiglass. So we use a translucent material behind the plexiglass to make that light shine bright. It's hard to pick up in pictures or cameras, but when you're around the arcade and you see it, it reminds you of the 1980s, you know.
Oh,
and
that's an aesthetic, right? The sounds of an arcade, the lights were always dimmed. You know, that neon element was always part of the aesthetic that made you feel like you're a kid, you were at a club, like you were at someplace cool, and
dangerous.
growing. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it was
different.
always fun.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So when I set out to do it, part of the first thing is you want to do quality materials, and that goes for the buttons and the sticks and everything else as well. You want to do quality because otherwise you'll be fixing it all the time, you know. So 3/4 inch MDF. At minimum, they're heavy. They're built. If I've had some, believe it or not, like on deliveries, roll down hills. We stand them back up, dust them off, and get them.
Wow.
So they're meant to last. When we build them too, we're not just like tacking them together. We're gluing them, tacking them, screwing them. So that like we want them to be like so you can punch the side of it and not hurt your hand kind of thing. We want them to be really well built. Then you go to the plexiglass. You want the plexiglass to be thick, but not so thick that it's distorting the screen behind it. Or you want the plexiglass to be really thick and feel good. We use plexiglass on our control decks as well. So you want that to feel good. Buttons, you want them to have a good spring. All of our buttons light up, which is, we didn't have that when we were kids, LED lights and things like that. Joysticks are essential. 4-way joysticks versus 8-way. Can you get both? That sort of thing. And then the sound. The larger it's got to be loud enough that you need to turn it down. You don't want it maximum volume. And there's different. I mean, if you're playing Donkey Kong from 1981, that's like 2-bit sound. It's da, 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 But if you're playing a game like Mortal Kombat 2, where that attract mode screen starts and the bass drops, you got to feel that bass. It's got to not only respond to how you expect it to respond, but the whole sensory has to be there. You have to be able to get it as loud as you need it to be, or what have you. Yeah.
I mean, and the range of products you make are pretty astounding. So I
Amazing.
think it's kind of interesting. 'Cause pinball, obviously, totally different, but you've got your pinball fans who require certain things because they want that feel of
Yeah,
pinball.
pinball is definitely tricky.
Yeah.
If you're a hardcore pinball person, you're not into virtual pinball. But if you're a casual pinball player and you love playing pinball, and you might have had your parents or your grandma and grandpa might have had a pinball machine at the resort, and you just want to see that game again. Virtual pinball is a great option.
Oh, it's gotten so huge too.
Yes,
I think there's people that love it because you've got the realistic boards and you've got the boards that they decide, let's just have fun with it and just do whatever you want.
Yeah, for sure. There's a new Star Wars board out there right now, and
there's a Pokemon one coming out, which is just even crazier.
Yeah,
the Pokemon pinball machine is just crazy.
All this stuff happens there's literally like an X-wing and the Millennium Falcon fighting as you're trying to play pinball underneath it. It's crazy.
But yes, if you want to get a real pinball machine, right, it's like they're like $6,000 a piece if you want a real one. So it's like, how can you even afford 12 of them?
Right. And then if you decide, I only have $3,000 to spend on a pinball machine, well, then you're going to get an older one, and then you have to teach yourself how to fix it. Because they are going to break, and they're going to break repeatedly, So, it's having a pinball machine is quite an investment, and it's a box filled with like bells, whistles, bumpers, and wire. Especially if it's one from the 70s or early 80s, it was only meant to last 10 years, not 30, 40 years. So even if they're well cared for or restored, there's always going to be some sort of problem with it. So pinball machines are a different beast, A brand new ones are,
minimum finding the parts for them, right?
Yes. Yeah. Like finding the relays, finding and with things online, it's a lot easier now, but if you've got like
limited, right?
yeah, if you've got like an Atlantis machine from, I don't know, or a Gorgar from 1981, that was a really popular machine.
Wow.
But if your board goes bad, where do you find another board? Like, where do you find another computer board for those kind of games? You almost have to sacrifice one to save the other, you know. And I'm certainly not an expert in fixing them. I've been around experts and they're amazing, you know. They do an amazing job, but it's virtual pinball was always attractive to me because of the cost, the variety of tables, and it gives you that kind of feeling. You know, we have a couple of them upstairs, and when we have a gathering, people will go straight up there to play Medieval Madness or whatever, you know, or Attack from Mars or whatever, you know, because they love it. Yeah.
So that leads me into kind of like, you know, the business model is essentially, so if someone wants to reach out to you, and like you said, you have certain timelines and things like that, are you strictly only in the state of Minnesota, or do you broaden?
So we have shipped them. Yeah. I don't like doing that, you know,
Sure.
but yes, we do.
Is a crate involved, I assume?
Yes, we have to crate them up, and it adds to the extra cost. We have fans. You know, Chicago is a popular spot that. So sometimes if we get enough orders, we can kind of group them together and deliver them. I personally like to deliver because then I can set it. I don't get any phone call that you accidentally dropped it down the stairs or anything. But I can go there, I can place it, and I can go over it with you in detail, especially if you've got light guns that you have to learn how to calibrate, all this kind of stuff. I would much rather be confident that you know how to use it, you know, and you know, pick the games, figure out your favorite lists, all that kind of stuff. Then just ship it off and cross my fingers, if that makes sense. We have shipped them, and we do ship
the white glove delivery, as they would say, that you pay more for, because you're like, we know you have problems when you get this in.
But yeah, usually, I mean, because I'm in southern Minnesota, we can go Des Moines, Sioux Falls, you know, Eau Claire, Minneapolis, St. Paul, Duluth, you know, Moorhead, you know, things like that. So there's plenty of potential customers around here too. Yeah.
And if obviously people are like, well, I live in California, do you have like a network of other people doing something similar to you, like that you could recommend?
I don't.
Or maybe?
I don't.
Okay.
I generally, you know, and I've had people drive. Omaha had a guy drive up last week from Omaha to put it in the back of his minivan and take off again. So that's, you know, I do get some of that. A lot of that is they have to figure out who you are, and you know, it's not like we have a giant advertising budget. We just we get most of 95% of my business is referrals. You know,
that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, some guy will buy one, and then his cousin, friend, uncle, whatever will call 3 weeks later and say, I want one too, you know, and then it just keeps rolling from that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you talk about your catalog and then like set up like in the house? Is it pretty straightforward for folks? Because it sounds like it's built, and then you either somebody will pick it up, but what is setup like?
Oh, sure. Like, so
you turn it on, right? It's delivered. You turn it on, like,
and then do you need like Wi-Fi
switch on the back?
Do you need internet?
No, they don't. None of the games need updating. You know what I'm saying? So like, some of the games are 40 years old, and they just don't have updates. You know, it's not like new Xbox games where they literally have updates. I know I bought Assassin's Creed and I'm all ready to play it, and I got to wait 2 days for it to update, you know. Drives you nuts. But no, the setup, there's an on-off switch. A lot of people ask that. How do you is there an on-off switch? I'm like, yeah. We put
Like
it in
the old days,
same,
right?
Yeah.
You felt like, is that it? Yeah, I turned it on.
Yeah. So it turns on, and we have it go on in stages. So like the marquee will come on, the buttons will turn on, the screen will turn on, the computer will turn on. So it's like so it all turns on in the exact order. And then when you're all done, you can turn it off, and it shuts itself down. Normally, a lot of the times people will use like an easy way is a Raspberry Pi type board, that's really quick on off. Or people will use like a mini PC running Linux. There's no keyboards. It doesn't like open up to Windows. It opens right up to the games, and you can pick the games by going back and forth using the stick, and then entering back using the buttons.
I ask you about that, Matt, because what I'm showing right now is one of your builds, and it
Yeah.
looks like this is kind of like probably, is this how it's like turns on, and then it's like this? You see a system.
Yeah,
and you
that's right. Yeah, or publisher, and then you go down the list, just like
Got
that.
it. Okay.
Yeah. So
It's all
then
pre-configured, right? You don't have to worry about how to control it, right? You don't have to do any
No,
setup.
generally, like with systems like Battlesera or Emulation Station or whatever, everything gets button mapped early on, and then all the games just follow that same button map. There might be some buttons that are off, like Street Fighter 2, for example, has it uses 6 buttons. It'll be I don't know exactly terminology, but there's like a short or a mini punch, medium punch, like fierce.
Yep. High kick, low kick, medium. Yep.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Yep.
And then they'll have like same thing with the kicks. Sometimes those buttons, we try to make them so that they're all even, but when you've got thousands of games that you're going through, you want to make sure that they're button mapped the way that they need to be button mapped. And normally we know. I mean, a guy will buy it and say, or it'll be Mortal Kombat or Killer Instinct, So then we'll make sure that those are button mapped to that specific game. And you can change the buttons, the way they perform per game.
Sure.
If you really want to, but we generally try to keep it, pretty simple, and most games don't use that many buttons, to be honest.
Right. Yeah. Mario is A and B. Right.
And most fighting games, I think they go to 6, maybe. Mortal Kombat, I think, was 4.
Right.
And, the weird ones are like even like the ones where it's like 2 sticks, like Smash TV, or it's just 2 because it's like direction. You do that, so
and a lot of times
you can't.
and a lot of times you just can't
weird.
do that. Like people will say like, oh, like I'm trying to think of a game with 2, like is it Kung Fu that used 2 sticks? Or Crazy Climber used 2 sticks,
There's some odd ones that just had those things, and
Right.
even like if it's got a trackball for like certain games like Millipede, and then Golden
Centipede.
Key. Yeah, if you've got a trackball, so yeah.
Right. A lot of the times with those older games, using an 8-way joystick rather than a trackball is actually beneficial. Like I prefer using a joystick on Centipede than I do a trackball.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, but a lot of
That's
people like
interesting.
that's how they remember it. The thing about the nostalgia connection to these games is I mean, I've seen grown like men cry when they see the game, or that they we were talking before the show about Rygar, being this pretty simple game, not exceptional. But there's a connection that people have to that game because they played it when they were kids, So in that town of 400 people that a Rygar machine was in, for them to be able to see Rygar again and be able to play it would be like amazing to them. We can listen to the music that we all heard in high school. I can literally play Pearl Jam, Nirvana, whatever right now. But being able to play those old games again with all their flaws and all their that's what people are after, and to be able to, and that's what makes gaming so special, because it's not just that you remember the game, you remember the experience that you had and who you played with. I mean, we all played like say Mario Kart to death or GoldenEye to death in college or whatever, people remember those experiences and who they played with, and those people that they played with might have passed away or something like that. So it's the connection to your past that you vaguely remember, then suddenly you do. I just had a guy in my shop 4 or 5 days ago. I fired up Excite Bike for him, and he was just beside himself. Oh my God.
And it was probably the player's choice, whatever the game was, like the Nintendo arcade where it had like 8 different Nintendo games. And it was like, wow, that's crazy.
Right. So being able to play, that is what, it's really cool for people. So it's the whole thing. It's the artwork, it's the design, everything.
Matt, I love what you're building. But one thing that I wanted to ask you is, so you said you created the family cave,
yes,
of a bunch of video games.
Yep.
What's your favorite? What is your nostalgia?
Yeah, so like what's the one game that I absolutely had to have? The one game that blew me away as a kid, and I wasn't even a kid, I was a teenager, was Time Crisis.
Time Crisis is a great game.
Yeah, it's a shooting game. The thing that was so beautiful about that game is the speed of the bullets. They weren't super fast, but they came at you slow and then sped up. So you always had a fighting chance. Time Crisis was just an amazing game, and it hasn't been until recently that you can really play it, because obviously that was first designed on an old CRT television, and if you know how light guns work, you know that if you record a CRT television, you can literally see it go black, and then back, and it goes so fast that you don't see it.
Scan lines and all that stuff. Yeah,
you can look at a video on how like Duck Hunt works or whatever. Recently, so they've tried for years to do like light gun or light bars with it and stuff like that, and it worked, but it wasn't great, And then a couple of years ago, a company came along, Sindin. They do Sindin light guns, where they have a camera inside the gun. That gun is a game changer with that game. It just works so beautifully. It was just such a lovely, beautiful game, and that's a game that I had been sought after for years, and now with the Sindin gun, it just makes it really easy, and it's available.
Matt, that is my plan. I want light guns.
Yes.
I want to do that. So I will probably be reaching out to you like for assistance on that. But you're absolutely right, because that's something about the arcades that I felt like can never be duplicated at home unless you have a way to rebuild some of those things. So like I was thinking, like my cousin's got one of the 1UP arcade, like it's the Star Wars system now.
Yes,
like
with the yoke.
It's got 2 games in it, and that's it. I think that's what it is, but it has like the certain control. And I love the fact though that you can bring some of those, because there's so many ways to do this, but light guns, being able to do that is just not available on consoles. So being able to do this in a way that brings it to life, that's amazing, because my wife loves the House of the Dead games.
Yes.
And that's what she loves doing. Everything else, I'm like, she says, when are you getting something I can shoot with a gun? I'm like, I'm working on it. So I think that's part of it. So why Dave and Buster's is so cool these days, because you can still do that with friends, because it's all those cool experiences that you can't do with consoles that people just love.
That's right. Yeah. And we've all seen arcades. They've changed so that you're like riding a bike, or you're on a motorcycle, you're in a car, you're putting on glasses, and you're on this thing, kind of thing. And they've gotten that's super cool. I love those kind of things. But for me, all those new games, they don't have that nostalgia connection. There's something about 90s alternative music that I have this like connection to, because that's what I listened to growing up. And that's the same thing with video games. There's something about Excite Bike or Super Mario World or whatever that you just have that love for, or that sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a dumb one that I loved
Mm-hmm.
when I was a kid.
Oh,
Paperboy. Remember
Paperboy with
the one where you were on the bike?
Yes.
How long were you able to actually play that game, Sean? Because I think I died in 2 seconds in that game.
Right. Well, yeah. So you go
just
through the week.
Stupid fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
By the time
absolutely.
You got to Friday, it looked like a tornado had gone through. There was shit everywhere. You had to ride your bike through it.
And
yeah,
that's what I really miss about modern video gaming
mm-hmm.
is those fun things that when we were at the arcade,
right,
or Chuck E. Cheese,
that I really want to bring home.
Yeah. Yes.
It could be Paperboy. It could be The Simpsons.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel vs. Capcom, but where you've got the 4 players.
Yeah.
And I remember as a kid, I don't know if you had this, Todd, where your rival would put coins down and you would battle. Because I played basketball, it wasn't uncommon for us to have the rival on the other side doing Marvel versus Capcom with us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the part that I really enjoy about these consoles or technically arcades, sorry.
Yeah.
Where you can bring that fun back, where, like I said, I want to bring my kids home here to be the place to play.
Yes.
Where they've got that. And the classic, I'm sorry, but the classic video games are so much fun for 4 players.
Yes.
Pretty basic, and that's why they work, right? It's like easy to understand and hard to master, or difficult to master. So basically you can continue to play and get better at it.
Yes.
I even think of like Dragon's Lair. I remember when that came out, that was like a showstopper.
Awesome.
I'm like, is this even real?
Yeah.
And yet you realize
right.
it was kind of like a click right at the right button, but nobody got it. And we had so many dollars wasted. So I'm going to ask a dumb question, Matt. Has anybody asked, like, can you really put a coin slot in there? And
all the time, and you can't, because a lot of the games aren't quarter based, and just
could you fake it though? Yeah, you can put a coin slot. Sure, why not? Makes a noise,
Somebody says, can you put a coin slot in it? We can put an actual coin slot, but we don't. You can't hook it up. What people don't realize is that if early on, we would buy ELF. They're called ELF systems from Amazon. They'd have like 600, 800 games on them or whatever. And you could hook them up. The hookup is called JAMA, and you can put a coin in it. And the thing is people would say, oh, it's great. I can charge my grandkids. Ha, 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 ha. It's a pain in the butt. And so you're putting coins in. Like, think about how many coins it takes to play a game of Turtles. It's like $10 worth of quarters, because you're just constantly.
If you're good.
Yeah. You keep putting them in.
Yeah.
And then what they would do is they'd open it up and they'd start flicking the door, flicking it to turn. And what would happen is that they break it.
Yeah.
So normally what you do is, in order to you just have a coin button. And they'd hit the coin button, coin yourself up, and then go ahead and play.
I think it's more to trick them rather than actually give them credit. It's almost like grandma could say, yeah, you got to put a coin in, it makes a noise. And it's like, I did it and I couldn't get more continues. And she, okay, well, game's over. Yeah. And it's like, it almost becomes like a trick versus actually people doing it.
That's right. Yeah.
Because nobody's going to make money off if you're paying a quarter at a time. Because, what's a quarter even worth these days?
It always surprised me. It always surprised me how long it took the companies to realize that you would put another quarter in if you'd already put one in just to continue. Donkey Kong, you can't really play. Oh, sorry. Donkey Kong, you can't really play, or continue, I should say. You have to be, if you're a really good Donkey Kong player, you play like 15 minutes and then you're done,
Yeah.
which is kind of, on a side note, that's what makes these games great too. Because we all have work lives and because we all have stuff, going on, putting 40 hours into a game is insane. We can't always do it. Although I sometimes manage to over the course of a few months, but being able to play like 10 or 15 minutes.
We all do, right?
Yeah.
We're busy, but I found time to like last night. I found time to play Resident Evil 9. So
Sure,
we all have our priorities, and we'll see it land. So Matt, in regards to this, just I think this is amazing. You have a service. Obviously, there's limitations to get this arcade systems out to other people outside of a certain region. But obviously, we're going to talk more about how they can, if they have questions, they can contact you. But obviously, we've got your website, we've shown it, so hopefully people are excited about that. So we're going to dig a little deeper into kind of like more of Matt the person, and kind of like how this came to life. So first of all, let's just delve into your own geeky origin story, kind of like what was young Matt like as a child? Where did he grow up? What was kind of like the environment that kind of led you to like, I want to do something like this? So tell us your quick elevator pitch, right?
Yeah, you're never in fifth grade saying I want to build arcade machines. It's I grew up in Faribault, Minnesota, which is about 45 minutes south of the Twin Cities on 35W. The real turning point for my parents were always great. I'd always I remember getting a Nintendo, getting a Super Nintendo, that kind of thing. But what really got me was I got a job at 16 working at a movie theater in Faribault. And a hop, skip, and a jump away in the same mall was an arcade called Magic Land. And Magic Land was something where I could go. I worked, especially in the summer, quite a bit during. There were, big movies coming out at the time, like Jurassic Park came out during that time, and Forrest Gump, and it was really a magical time for movies. But it was a great time to be in gaming in the early '90s, because you still had old Pac-Man and Donkey Kong machines in that arcade, but you also had games like Killer Instinct that came out, and NBA Jam, and Mortal Kombat, and things like that. And we would go and I'd play all the time. I mean, I would have at least $3-4 worth of quarters in me, and I'd go and play on my breaks, and sometimes after work, if I worked a matinee, I'd stay for a little while longer and play those games. So that's where I really started to kind of fall in love with them. Then over the years, I got into, I went to college, for 6 years in Bethany College in Mankato. And I decided that then my first job out of college, believe it or not, was a newspaper reporter, which was really kind of fun. I did that for
which newspaper?
Faribault Daily News. I worked at my hometown newspaper.
The hot topics of what's going on. The Faribault, like it was a school district election, right?
Yes, I did cops and courts, so it was quite
nice.
yeah. But I did that for a while. Got into communications work. Worked at a nonprofit in Mankato, Minnesota for several years. Mm-hmm. And then while I was doing that, I was always going back and tinkering with the games. I would buy old arcade machines, like, Golden Tees and stuff like that. That's about 2015-ish. And I would be working on them, figuring out, taking the old CRT TVs out that were just completely trashed and trying to figure out how to get these games working. Same thing with pinball machines.
So
trying to get
them to work. Buying a few and trying
tinkering with them. Yeah, I'm big on marketplace, as you know.
Yeah.
So I buy a few, tinker, and then I decided, I want to build one of these so that it plays what I want it to play and is the right kind of screen. And you build yourself one, and your friend says, "Hey, can you build one for me?" And then I built like 4 of them for a buddy's wedding, and people were really liked them. And you change the way you built them. You buy new equipment, and then I would say WCCO did a story on me in my garage, just working on it. And then the pandemic came along, and that was an absolute game changer. Nobody had any money to go vacation. Well, everybody,
Yeah.
but they had money to spend on stuff in their houses. And one of the trends that I saw, and this is probably pre-pandemic, but it definitely accelerated during the pandemic, was the thing that you guys were talking about, with creating a game room or a space in your own house, creating a bar, the neighborhood bars. I would go into people's basements with an arcade, and they would have essentially like a commercial kitchen down there, like, and rows of pinball machines. And you'd be like, what? It's people, having these spaces so that they can invite their friends and their family over to play, and that everybody wants an arcade in those spaces. And that's what helped, grow the business. I started out working with my father. Then a couple of friends would help me out. And before I knew it, I was busy enough to just do it all the time. The nonprofit that I was working for in Mankato shut down because of the pandemic. So it's just something I tried, and I've had fun with it ever since. It keeps me busy, and I love the fact that I don't have a boss. And if I don't like somebody, I can just say, okay, I'll just go on to the next person that wants something. I don't have to work with everybody that comes to you and demanding things. So yeah. And I try to build stuff that works, and that people really want, because that's where you get their referrals, and then you stay busy enough. But the materials that we use, I had to build a shed, or a shop. I love my commute. I get up and I just walk out there and I work, and it's fun. I get some neighborhood visitors, to come and play some games, and I'm always just kind of tinkering. I love custom builds. That's my favorite. I feel like some of the builds, like that 2-player wide body, I almost can do it in my sleep. I just have all the jigs and everything, and so that gets a little repetitive. But for the most part, I love building the custom artwork and making each one sort of unique. And the best part for me is delivery, when the people see it, and they usually are like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Yeah, under promise, over deliver, and just make it so that they work.
It's amazing, and I think about like the barcade scene has grown. People want to
Yes.
hang out, drink, and play games. In Minneapolis local, we have the Lit Pinball Bar. We have Up Down, which is
Yes.
a great place. And I've even noticed that they're getting people that make them arcade systems that have games that are like indie games too. It's like,
Yeah.
I need you to make a game that does that. So we've seen that, and even I've gone to cons like in local in Minneapolis. We have the 2D con, and we have the video game con, and I saw they had an arcade system. I'm like, this isn't an arcade game I'm aware of, and it's like obviously somebody had to build that for
Yeah.
them. So that
Yep.
seems like, Matt, it seems like an area. It's like you're like seeing that like there's an appreciation of it and ways to really take your craft and build something for people where they can really introduce new areas. Of
Yeah,
gaming.
the custom builds. Some of the builds we did a build last year where it was literally a room, like it was like and it's hard to describe. The console itself was about 16 feet wide or 12 feet
Wow.
wide in a U shape, and 4 people stood there, and it was a game show. And they would hit a button, and then they could change the game show to something like a murder mystery or whatever. But there were screens, projectors everywhere in this room. So yeah, we've done some wild stuff. Like I said, I've done them with fish tanks in them. I won't do that again. But
water and electronics sounds like
right.
a perfect mix.
But for the most part, they're not difficult to build. And you can go on Amazon, find the parts, and build one very inexpensively for yourself. If you want something really cool, really custom, you can pay for it, but like your build there, I'm sure it plays thousands of games, and I'm sure you love it. And that's what's kind of cool too, is
I have to show this to everybody because they probably are like, what are you talking about? I have to show mine. So there you go. This is my silly, well, let's get the right view there. So this is mine. So what I've tried to make is something simple because my space is limited. I have the X Arcade VR thing, they call it basically. Plus it comes with a stand. So that was something critical to me. And I have this like, my TV is a 40-inch monitor, 1080p. No, I think it's 4K, but it also has a movable stand. So for me, it was like flexibility of moving it, doing whatever I want. That's fine. But obviously, then I've got a lot of work I have to do. It's not easy. It's not turnkey. A lot of build of like my mini PC and stuff like that. So I'm like, if you want to do the work, sure, why not? But if somebody
Yes.
are even like, I don't want to deal with any of this crap. This is, I think, where people will be like, there's a better way to do it, and it's with people like you. Because I think, Matt, because they're like, if you like to tinker, you like to do all this fun stuff, great. But if you don't and you want a very painless experience, that's where I'm like, this is why we get people. It's like home improvement, right? I can do that. It's going to look like crap. It's not going to be good. It's going to be painful. It's going to be 85 trips to Home Depot. Finally get it done. I'm like, the wife looks at like, really?
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly. So it becomes like, yes, you can, but is it worth your time, effort, energy? And it probably still will not deliver the experience that you probably are envisioning in your brain. So I think that's where you bring the value, the experience. Like you said, you can do this in 2 days. Like everybody else, it's 18 weeks of maybe you get this right, it's wrong. You try it out, it doesn't deliver. It's not as clean. It's not as good looking. So I think people need to realize where their skill set ends and where they're
but it's
where their
getting
interest lies.
it's getting easier and easier and easier to do. And I encourage it, because if you don't want to, if you don't want to spend thousands of dollars or whatever, you can still be able to access and play these old games and have a ton of fun. Whatever kind of system, that 40-inch screen that you have, do the games get kind of pixelated for you, or are they pretty good?
It looks pretty good, depending what I run on it. But I mean, I'm still kind of like getting like where, I'm trying to figure out like what operating system I want to use, because I actually have Steam on it too. So it's a little mix of everything. But I know Batacera is like, it's a dedicated Linux build, so you boot into it, it's good to go. So I got to figure this stuff out. So like, once again, I'm learning along the way. But like when I say Linux, that should scare the crap out of most people, because you hear that like, what's that mean? Yeah, if you don't know what Linux is, don't even start, because it is a thing.
Right. Yeah.
So
there are tons and tons of different challenges with other games and things like that.
And it can get frustrating. Even myself, it's like,
Very.
I want to do assign keys, and I'm like, I could do this and that, and I'm like, sometimes you just should not manage the
but the technology, and like with the light guns, the technology is improving. With those light bars, you had to stand on like almost an X, and it would be different per games. Now it's like it's very cool. It's very cool, very intuitive. And you're right. A lot of these are plug and play. That's the other thing with the system is, like, if a button were to go out, how do you fix it? And that's and I try to always, I don't try to I'm not into soldering things, so everything that we use is plug and play, so a customer can fix it themselves, and we show them how to fix it at delivery, because inevitably you're going to have a button that goes out, or something, or a stick that wears out over the course of several years. So being able to replace those things and everything like that.
Yeah, that's a big value to have someone who can
Yeah.
support you through your process, your purchase, and be there for you. Which is quite honestly, if you do it your own, then good luck. Matt, we've kind of
Yes.
covered off the things that your business can do, what got you here. So now I've got some hard hitting journalist questions
All
that I have to
right.
do.
Fire away.
So really quickly, my favorite question I think is going to be awesome. But what was your favorite build you've done so far?
Okay, so my favorite build was one that we done recently where um, the customer really I've done so many builds that they kind of run together. I think of it as a project, and part of that project is the customer as well on the other side, you know. And this customer, for privacy reasons, I won't say his name, but
Sure.
he was autistic, and he's an older guy on the spectrum, but he would pass as not being autistic. I mean, he was
Mhm.
yeah, but we built him a game, and he wanted it a horror theme. I'm like, oh boy, so Friday the 13th, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, it was just a really special build. When I got there, they're having a party for him. He's always wanted an arcade. He's probably in his mid 40s, and he was absolutely blown away. In the end, we were hugging, and that's the kind of thing. I could build 1,000, and I have cabinets, with screens and games in them, but it's that connection that I really enjoy. It's funny to me too how many of my customers become Facebook friends,
Oh,
and
yeah.
we uh, once in a while there's a couple of kids that I have disabilities, and I talk to them every couple of months, about a particular game or about this or that. So it's those relationships. Uh, Favorite builds, they sort of, like I said, run into each other, but for the most part, it's more like favorite customers or favorite projects that to me make it fun. There we have miserable customers too. That just
That's probably getting
you
like I was
know
gonna like, what's the most challenging part
What?
of the business which would probably lead in there, right?
it's no one has patience now. So when you tell them it'll be 3 weeks, 3 days later, when they're asking for an update, then you know that, okay, we've got to, unfortunately with me, and I probably shouldn't say this publicly, the squeaky wheel always gets help first with me. Yeah, because I don't want someone at night worried that their machine isn't going to get built or panicking, because some of them it's a big investment for some people, so um, some customers it's been hard. I've had customers sit in my shop and literally watch me build their arcade machine. They're just so anxious for it, and that's okay. I've had some customers take apart their arcade machine to figure stuff out and then wreck it. So then you're like, okay,
Oh,
if I can put it back together for you once, and then, and just warn them, please don't do this anymore.
yeah.
This is not a warranty thing when you take everything apart, kind
Cool.
of thing. So, but yeah, I tell each one of my customers, you're in the club now. So if you have any questions or anything like that, just in our break here, a guy was asking me how to calibrate the light gun, and I don't expect everybody to read the directions.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you just have to explain how to do it, and I get most of my questions at night, when people are off of work and stuff like that,
Sure.
but that's fine.
Yeah. There's a lot of TLDR, right? Too long didn't read.
Yes.
We all are in that base. Like
Yes.
I thought it would be easier than this.
And if
Totally
you're
get it.
responsive, then they'll ask you over and over and over and over again.
Oh yeah. Oh, he's up. So I'll just ask him again. He's responding. Right. So it becomes like your wife's like,
and some of the
contacting
questions
you
are
now?
Yeah, some of the questions are just the bomb button doesn't work on this particular game, and you'd be like, well, did you collect any bombs? Oh yeah, okay, that kind of
Oh
stuff.
no, like the Nintendo hotline.
Yes, you end up being like,
they're never gonna ask you like, how do you beat that guy? I'm like, that's not my job.
Right. Yeah.
So, I was looking down at my phone and I saw the build outs you have.
Yeah.
If you were to recommend a build out,
I
think I know what I would go with. But what is your build out as a fan? You would go with?
The first question I ask people, one question: are you going to be mostly playing by yourself? And be honest. Are you mostly going to play by yourself, or are you going to be playing with a bunch of other people? And most people will play these games by themselves most of the time. Mm-hmm. The 2-player wide body, to me, is really the perfect size of machine. 32-inch screen, 2-player. It's wide enough so that if your buddy comes over and you want to play a game, you can play. You can stand next to it, because it is wider than an old arcade.
Is this the right one?
Yeah.
So, man, I'm showing it right now. Is that the right one?
That's the one, and that's the one like a lot of you see the one in the corner there has got Minneapolis glass. A lot of companies will buy that one, for their break rooms and stuff. That's a great machine. If I was mainly going to play with shooters, I'd want a larger screen, that kind of thing.
Would that work with the wide body work for that or no?
Yeah, it works great. Yeah. Okay. But if you, like I said, if your dream is to play, Time Crisis or House of the Dead or Jurassic Park or whatever, having a larger screen is nice. But for the cost and point and everything like that, the 2-player wide body is the way to go. And I often talk people out of 4 players,
Okay.
But it's hard to beat 4-player Mario Kart or 4-player James Bond, GoldenEye, or 4-player Super Smash Brothers. Some people.
So is that the modern arcade?
That would be the ultra wide that they're showing right there.
So this ultra wide 4-player.
The same. All the modern is a slightly different design, a little bit bigger control deck, and a little bit beefier sound system. That's about it.
And then what does the total package bring?
Total package is everything. So what I do with that one is we give you every one of our accessories and the best computer, everything the full
2 light guns, which I think it's interesting because the light guns are included in this. So it's like you're good to go to play Time Crisis, like those games you talked about, right?
Yeah. And it's it's pretty much your whole childhood in a box, basically, as far as
just make sure you got the space, folks, because Matt can't make your room bigger.
Right. Yeah. We do all the measurements and stuff. And luckily for, most of the arcades, they can fit downstairs and things like that. It's one of the first challenges that you have is you have to make it so that it can fit anywhere. A lot of people have basements and a lot of people don't have walkouts. So you got to get it.
I
don't. My old one did.
Is that going to fit in my basement?
Yes.
Matthew.
Exactly. It's funny because basements also are a regional thing because a lot of places they don't have basements.
That's right. So, Kentucky, we were in a neighborhood in Kentucky. There's no basements. It was always just flat,
Or goes upstairs, right? And it's like, going upstairs is less fun than going downstairs.
You're telling me you take an old Victorian house in South Minneapolis and you try to put a big arcade in, Painful. Yep, it is painful. A lot of older houses too have straight stairs, and that makes it easier.
Yeah,
it's just straight.
Yeah,
it's when they start turning, have a landing. That's the part where it can often go, all right, let's measure that landing, to make sure it'll fit, that kind of thing.
All right. So let's so we got to like a actual like I would say educational part of the show,
Sure.
Matt. So what advice would you give to someone who wants to do something like this, but obviously I guess I'm the prime candidate. Less budget,
Sure.
less skills. What
But
would you
just wants
recommend?
to,
Like how
yeah.
would you say how do you want to get into like this retro gaming environment? What would you recommend as kind of a basis of like skills or
So
training or just
build
kind
your
of like
own
what you
cabinet kind of thing. Yeah. Is that
or
what you're
even
at?
not even a cabinet, maybe. It's like, I just
Just,
want a way
yeah.
to play retro games with a cool controller, like with joysticks and
Sticks
things
and
like that.
things.
Is there a
Yeah.
way to like get there to
Yeah. I mean,
start? And then it's like,
you
yeah.
can start, if you just want something cheap and easy, you can go to Amazon.com. You can get a two-player uh, combination joystick, with 6 players or 8 buttons, and it's got maybe 2000, a Pandora box is what they call it. It'll have
Okay.
like maybe 1,000 games on it or whatever. That's a great way to start.
So hook it up to
Lot-
your own TV, right? Or your
Sure.
own monitor or
Yep.
whatever.
Hook it up
Yeah.
to your own TV. The sound goes
Okay.
through the HDMI cord.
Yep.
And those are a lot of fun. I've had some people I've seen where they build something and then they put those boxes in there with the sticks and buttons, and that works great. Amazon sells those all day long. That's a very cost effective way to start. If you're looking for the whole experience, there's a lot of different disciplines that go into making an arcade. You have obviously woodworking, graphic art, and there's a little bit of wiring.
Yeah.
Not so much nowadays. You can find some kits on Amazon that are pretty much plug and play, but you can get the buttons and the sticks. Um, I've always thought it's a lot of fun to build your own and just to see what you can come up with. A lot of the times we're asked to come in like halfway through,
I wasted a lot
Uh,
of time, a lot of wood, and a lot of things, and like it's not
yes, yeah,
coming
yeah.
together.
It's not
And my
something you
wife
can
is
do in just,
mad.
yeah,
Yeah.
one day. When we build ours, we're using like a CNC machine to cut out the
Oh yeah.
shapes and stuff. So it's like we're beyond a jigsaw and but there's plenty of videos like online where people have explained how they've done it. And yeah, I think that's cool. It's cool. Sometimes people find an old cabinet and they try to retrofit it. The big problem you have there is finding the right screen size, because they were always square, now they're rectangle, so it doesn't work quite right. So yeah, it doesn't look like seamless. But if you could find an older LCD screen or whatever that's square, that can look pretty good. But yeah.
It's like the people that wanted to recreate the old like the Victrola radios and put a
Yes,
Bluetooth speaker in. You could do it, but it's
you can
probably
do
gonna
it, but
be
it's just
painful. Yeah.
not. Yeah, it's just not
It's not what you want.
quite right. Yeah, right. And I've never tried to build. I've seen people build them with CRT screens in them because they want that look or that feel.
Good
Mhm.
luck with that supporting the heft.
Yes, yeah, they're really heavy and they're getting really
Yeah.
expensive.
Oh, yeah.
People would give them away at garage sales and stuff years ago. Now they just don't make them anymore. So there's only a few people that do have them, hoard them, so that they can keep fixing their games, so to speak, keep their games going.
Yeah.
Those old
So
games take a lot of work. A lot of
oh yeah.
people.
And it's like kind of like it's expectations, right? And then it's
Yeah.
like realization, then it's like, what am I okay with? And
Yes.
kind of like that's so sometimes we have to like have a confessional to a
Yes.
professional, as I would
Yes.
say. And there we get to there.
Right. Right.
What's
Yeah.
good enough and what do you want to deliver for your dream to deliver? So I would say Matt is a person that can make your dreams come true when your spouse is saying that project is taking too long,
Right.
you've screwed up too much, you've wasted too much money, and it's
Right.
not coming together. And hey, holy cow, I just want to spend time with you. So let's make it happen. So
That's right. Yeah.
that's where I would say that go to the professionals because
Sure.
sometimes your own work is fine, but your time and
Yeah, it's a time
Definitely
thing.
in your sanity, right? So your sanity too is like, what the heck am I doing wrong? And
Especially if you're a business owner, you're better off going out there making more money and then buying it rather than trying to do it yourself. Because I take a lot of calls.
I have so little time, and it's like I can spend with my kids or be
That's
in a
right.
place where like I'm swearing a lot and it's not we're coming together. So
Sure. Yeah.
So that gets me to the next spot of, this is kind of like a fun one. So what games are you actually playing now? Because
Now-
obviously you talked about Assassin's Creed, but I mean, what is your like not just arcades, obviously, but it sounds like you're a gamer in general. What's the game you're excited about now that you're playing?
Well, some of the games that like I've been playing a lot of shooter games lately. I've been playing a lot of House of the Dead.
Perfect.
I've been playing a lot, like I said, Time Crisis and things like that. My favorite game of all time is Donkey Kong, 1981.
Okay.
Because of the difficulty and the 4 levels. Sometimes I don't play it for a year, then I pick it up again, and I just those games are so rhythmic and they're so patterned. I'm sure we all know someone that can play Pac-Man for 2 hours, because they know the patterns. It's the same thing with Donkey Kong. It's just a beautiful game, and it's one of the first games that actually the creator of I'm not going to even
Miyamoto.
Yeah, I was
right?
not going to attempt to pronounce his name, but
yeah,
that's one of a game that I've been playing recently again. It's just so much fun, and you can point press on it, and there's always those little glitches. There's also a lot of really rich history, with the King of Kong, the
great documentary. Yep.
Billy Mitchell.
And all the controversy about that man with the USA tie and the hot sauces.
Yes. Yep. I've been playing a lot of Killer Instinct 2, putting combos together, things like that. I don't play an awful lot of console games anymore. I wish I could, but I've got 2 limitations. Time. I think the last big console game I played was Breath of the Wild. And I do play Assassin's Creed. I tend to get obsessed with things, so then I play it night after night after night, which is not always good because sometimes those games will literally last forever. And I always have to, with like the Xbox or the PlayStation, I always use a stick and buttons when I play. I don't use a controller. So I'm sort of limited on what I can and can't do because a controller obviously has a lot more buttons. And one of the reasons is, and I haven't talked about this yet, is my hand. I have a left hand that I ran over with a table saw years ago. And so that stopped me. It's one of the other reasons I went more into the arcade gaming, was that I could use a stick and buttons, but the tactile, so I have a thumb that's, I don't know if you can see it very well.
Oh,
yeah. I have a hand that's really badly damaged. You can see the scar here.
Oh, yeah.
And so it makes the buttons hard to adjust. So, I'm often playing with sticks and buttons, much like that X Arcade, putting it on my lap and playing that way. What I wanted to do was build a machine, and that X Arcade stick works great, that I can plop the stick into and play, or pull it out, put it on my lap, and then play something else.
Yeah.
So that's, I've already taken all the cords off of it and redone it so that it all has connectors now and stuff like that. So
it's very cool.
And
I love
have
that.
a shop, right?
Yeah, I do.
That people can come to.
Yep. I have a little room with a bunch of examples of games. We get visitors from all over. They come.
Sounds like Sean and I need to do a road trip.
We are coming.
Yeah.
I like going to like rural spots in Minnesota. We just in Anoka, found some really cool places. So it's definitely worth a road trip to see people. I mean, I'm going to go to the Spam Museum one of these days in Minnesota.
It's cool that you have this maker kind of thing, because with the with the internet now, you can literally, my shop is literally next to a cornfield in the middle, and you can't see neighbors around me. You know, I live out in the country, and it's wonderful. If you go down the road, there's a guy that fixes vintage snowmobile machines, like snowmobiles. Like, and he's like a world class, like even the right screw that they had, like everything is OEM factory. And if he can't find the right screw, he makes it. You know, it's just crazy.
You
Yeah.
got machinists, you've got those people that can have those
Yeah, there's a
skills.
guy that does.
My dad was a machinist at General Motors, so he
Yes.
totally understands like what you need to do to build those things. So,
And there's less people making stuff today.
yes,
You know,
Right.
you know, and
absolutely.
you know, our grandparents, they, you know, if you lived in Chicago, everyone knew someone that, or Detroit, everyone knew someone that worked in the audio industry or worked in Chicago pinball or gaming. You know, it's kind of gone away. You know, so that's why I always encourage people, if they want to attempt building their own, do it. You know, why not? You know, and if you fail, there's other people to help you. You know, and with the internet today, it's almost impossible not to learn anything. You know.
Exactly. And I was just going to share a little bit of my history. So I went to Michigan State University, and
Yeah.
why arcades matter to me is because we had pinball Pete's. Every Wednesday after classes got out, I would go to the comic book shop and I would go to Pinball Pete's. It still exists.
Yeah.
Michigan State has one. The University of Michigan has one. I don't want to talk about them because I hate the
Sure.
Wolverines. But
Yes.
it's just, I just remember there. They had a pop machine where you would pay 50 cents and they would pour out fountain soda with ice, and I would get that. And then you go over, like, you know, you get your money to play, and then you go down. It's downstairs. This is
Yes.
how it looked. It was great. It was all these pinball games, but it wasn't just that. It was all of the cool Tekken. It
Yes.
was all of the games you could play, and it still exists today.
That's
I
awesome.
loved it to pieces. It was part of my fun of,
Yeah.
could I beat this guy? Could I do that? Obviously, redemption games are part of arcades now, but
Yeah.
this is what we're talking about. I mean, this is what it was all about, the fun, and this is college kids just having a fun time.
That's
Pinball
cool.
Pete's is in my soul. It's in my heart, so I love arcades. It's going to be where I lean, and hopefully my son will enjoy it in the future. And obviously Sean is going to look into this for his kids, because obviously
Yeah.
it's far different than we grew up. So with
Yeah.
that, Matt, I want to end with what projects you're doing that are really exciting for you. Obviously you may not be able to share, but like what's on your like radar of like, this is what I'm going to work on or what I'm going to do that should make people excited in the world of arcades.
I've got I'm working on a machine right now that has a marquee that's digital. So when you play the game, the original marquee comes up.
Oh wow! So it's variable, right? That's
right,
really cool.
right. So you have to stretch it sometimes a little bit, but having that like X-Men artwork or 1942 or Centipede, and it just flashes up there like that. I that's something that it's possible, it's been done before, but it's something that I'm sort of working on. I think that's, you know, to me, that's a lot of fun. Another one is finding digital bezels, you know, because a lot of the games, of course, are 4x3, you know, and finding the correct bezel to go around it that has the instructions on the game on one side, you know, stuff like that. So that's another thing that I'm constantly kind of like tinkering with and things like that, just to make them just a little bit more polished or a little bit more user friendly. You know, I'd love to be able to have a digital, like be able to have certain buttons only light up on certain games, so you knew what buttons to push.
Yeah,
that would be amazing. You know, you're always thinking of like stuff like that. But really what keeps most of your time going is getting the games to work, you know, and trying to find those obscure things, those obscure titles and things like that. And, you know, you've got like the next generation. Like Sean, you were saying you have like a 12-year-old, you know. My customers are getting older and older and older because we're all getting older, and we all have that nostalgia connection. It's fun to me when a 20-year-old is asking questions about the arcade machines. You know, they saw Stranger Things and they saw them play Space Invaders on there or Defender on there, or Miss Marvel had a Street Fighter 2 scene, and they're asking questions about that. So it's to me, talking to the next generation about like what they're missing on some of this stuff is pretty cool. And we were talking before the show too about some of these games being re-released or redone, which is really, really fun to see. You know,
Or the new versions of
that's what you were
beat 'em
saying.
ups that are going to be able to be like, hey, because a lot of the things you do could run on like because they're very much pixely and done like
Yes,
they could run on the systems you make, and that's kind of
obviously,
cool.
yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
there's a lot
So
of
I want to
phone games,
share.
yeah,
Yeah.
like that. Do
Yeah.
that.
I want to share one game that's coming out, and this is near and dear to my heart. There's a
Yeah.
movie coming out this summer with a certain man that's a he man
Yes,
that when they're making a game that's going to be amazing. And I'm
yes.
like, I can't believe they're doing this. And I'm going to share it on screen.
Mhm.
And I just am so excited. I'm like, Matt, this game will run on your systems. I have no doubt because it's like
Right.
it is pixely goodness. So I'm going to share this and I'm going to end with this because I think this is so much fun. So here we go. This is that He-Man and the Masters of the Universe Dragon Pearl of Destruction. I'm going to play the trailer.
Wow. Just like turtles.
Look at this.
Yes. Can you imagine if
This-
that came out in 1994? We
Oh
would,
my God, there's been no
yeah,
good He-Man games. This makes me so happy, and this is
yeah,
perfect for the type of games that can run on your systems, can do
yeah.
this with multiple players. It's perfect for that. And I'm like, this is amazing. And I think there's no end to like nostalgia of games or animated
Is
properties
that
that
got
never got
Shira
a
in it?
good game.
It sure does.
It
Yeah,
does have
Oh God,
She-Ra, it
this
has
is
everybody.
awesome.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, look at this game. It looks amazing.
Yeah,
It's
in
great.
my man cave, I've got a Skeletor, a He-Man. I've got Castle Grayskull. Just a little homage to He-Man. He-Man also has it's Masters of the Universe has a great, just a wonderful virtual pinball table. That's
Really? I
amazing.
need to check that out.
Yeah, oh, it's
Oh my goodness.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have
So
it on yours?
Yeah, 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 of course.
oh my
It's
goodness.
yeah, I have the power, and then multi-ball hits. Yeah, it's a lot of
My
fun.
goodness. So good.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, I just love this feel of like all these things are coming together. And I think people realize it doesn't have to look like it's ultra realistic to be
no,
awesome. And yeah, the pixel stuff makes it perfect. And if you want that perfect experience, to bring back your nostalgia and also
that's
bring it
right.
to life for your kids, Matt is your guy,
Yeah,
unless you don't live within like probably I would say a certain amount of distance to where he's at. So
sure, yeah,
but you know what? If you got a guy in your area and like, hey, talk to Matt, maybe Matt would be like he could pay for his services and be a
sure, yeah,
consultant,
yeah. We'll
which
meet
is
you
there's money in
halfway, kind of.
consultancy, Matt.
Yeah,
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 yeah, as we all know. Well, that is a I think this is a perfect time to end our delve into arcade systems,
yeah.
uh, Matt's amazing retro replay arcades business, and kind of like where we lean into our nostalgia. So with that, Sean, any other question you want to give Matt before we say adieu?
Matt, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah,
We learned a lot, and
yeah.
super excited to get a beast from you.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, hopefully we'll be talking soon. But yeah, so it's great listening to both your stories and seeing some of your old arcade hotspots. It's literally I get to do that. I'm so privileged to be able to get to talk to people about the games that they used to play and their experiences And yeah, it was. I had a lot of fun. Thanks for spending a little time with me tonight. I had a blast. So thank you.
I will say this, as a young kid growing up in rural Michigan, the fact that my little town of Metamora actually had an arcade is kind of crazy, and I
Yeah,
was so happy for that. But there was places I could play, bowling alleys, and grocery stores, and well, we had Showbiz in Michigan, so people had Chuck E. Cheese, but
sure.
those are part of a formative life, and I want more people to experience that. So Matt is your guy. So with that, Matt, thank you so much.
Thank
Matt,
you.
tell people where they should check out your stuff. If they have questions, if they want to order
Yeah.
from you, where should they go?
RetroReplayArcades.com. I literally have my phone number on there, and they can text me, email me, whatever. We're a very small operation, but with that small operation, you get an expert talking to you about these games and building. We pride ourselves on building exactly what you want. So yeah. I appreciate it so much, guys. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Are you on socials other than just the web, or you have,
Oh
like,
no,
Facebook, Blue Skies, or anything other
I've
than
got
that?
I've got a Facebook page. Unfortunately, and we have an Instagram page.
Okay.
But yeah, we're kind of old school. We're not TikTok users. No, I'm not quite a TikTok
It's
user,
okay.
but
We'll
Bring in the
we're
young
retro. We're
do that.
retro in the
We'll-
social media fields too.
we'll do our best to bring you on Discord because that's where I'm at.
Oh
But
sure.
Yeah, we need an expert,
can't-
right? We might need an
Yeah.
expert to say, what can we do? We'll bring you in as
Sure.
necessary. So thank you so, Matt. We're gonna when we get this out there, we're gonna spread you across the interwebs, and
Thank you.
hopefully
Yes.
we can find new people to introduce you to. So
Well,
thank you so much.
very much. Yeah. Have a great night, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Matthew,
The Fan
uh,
Foundry.
thanks, bud.
Yeah,
Can't
thank you.
appreciate it
Yeah.
more. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So-
Thank you. Have a great night, guys.
So, yep. So with that, I was going to say where you can find us. We're at the Phantom Foundry, and you can find us on all things around the web. We're at the Phantom Foundry within Blue Skies, Instagram. We have a YouTube channel. We have a Discord channel. We also have a website, and we also have a thread store on our website. And please check out all the stuff. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share. We're also on Apple and Spotify podcasts, and also on Google Podcasts. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Please like, share, and tell your friends you like the Phantom Foundry, because we can do more cool stuff like this. So that's me, that's Sean, that's Matt. Guys, it's been a wonderful time talking about these awesome things that we love that make our lives so much better. So with that, I want to say thank you to everyone. And you know what? You may not be a maker today, but you can be in the future. Have a good night and good luck.